The music was loud. Laughter floated through the air like bubbles. Colored lights danced on the white walls of the big house. People held glasses, sipped drinks, and smiled for pictures. It was a perfect evening. Victor was charming. Tall, confident, and handsome in his black tuxedo, he moved through the crowd like a king at a royal feast. Everyone knew him. Everyone liked him. But nobody knew the woman behind his success. Her name was Amara. She stood near the staircase, greeting guests in a sparkling gold dress. Her smile was gentle. Her skin glowed. Her natural hair was tied in a bun, and her voice was soft, like music on a calm day. Everyone said she was lucky to marry a man like Victor. But Amara knew the truth. She had paid for everything. The house, the cars, the business. They were built with her late father's inheritance. But nobody knew that. Victor never told them. He let people believe he was the one with the riches, the power, the vision. Amara didn't care. Not at first. She loved him. Truly. Deeply. She believed in the magic of marriage. She believed in patience, in quiet sacrifice, in building something beautiful together. But that night, something snapped. It happened in front of everyone. Victor was drinking too much. His eyes turned sharp. His laughter grew loud and ugly. When Amara came close to whisper something small, something sweet, he turned and slapped her. Loud. Hard. The music didn't stop, but the people froze. The room went silent for a moment. Glasses stopped in midair. Mouths opened, but no one said a word. Victor looked angry. Amara touched her cheek. Her fingers shook. Then she smiled. A small, broken smile. She looked at the guests and whispered, "Please enjoy the night," before walking upstairs. The music returned, but the mood had changed. Some laughed nervously. Some whispered. Some looked at the floor. Victor returned to his glass like nothing had happened. But upstairs, Amara sat on the edge of her bed, staring into space. Her cheek burned, but her heart burned more. She had stayed silent for years. Victor had hurt her before, not with his hands, but with words, with control, with coldness. He made her feel small, made her feel useless, made her question her worth. She gave him everything, her money, her love, her dreams. And in return, he gave her scars nobody could see. Until tonight. Now, the world had seen it. The sting of the slap was still fresh, but it opened something inside her. Not pain, not anger. Power. For the first time in years, Amara felt power. She reached into the drawer and pulled out a file. Documents. Deeds. Proof. Victor didn't know that she had never removed her name from anything. The business they ran, still 80% hers. The house they lived in, bought with her father's money. The company's bank accounts, opened with her ID. He thought she would never act. He thought she would always stay quiet. He was wrong. That night, while Victor slept like a king, Amara stayed awake like a soldier. By morning, the locks had changed. The business accounts were frozen, and Victor's name was removed from the board of directors. He didn't even know yet. Amara moved quietly. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She moved like a shadow with fire in her chest. Every document, every paper, she signed them one by one. Her lawyer, who had waited for years for this call, answered with calm strength. "I'm ready," she said. The lawyer didn't ask why. She already knew. Days passed. Victor noticed small things. The house staff now reported to Amara. His business card access stopped working at the office gate. His company email was blocked. He laughed. "She's just playing games," he told his friends. But when he tried to withdraw money, his card was declined. When he drove to the bank, the manager asked him politely to leave. When he returned home, the gate didn't open. Amara's voice came from the intercom. "Come. Cold. You no longer live here." Victor laughed again. "Amara, open the gate. Stop this nonsense." "I'm not joking," she said. "Check your documents." She ended the call. Victor drove off, boiling with rage. But deep inside, fear had begun to grow. Amara stood by the window, watching him leave. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She simply stood. This was just the beginning. Victor sat in his car, his hands tight on the steering wheel. He had just been locked out of his own house. No, not his house. Her house. Amara's words repeated in his head like thunder. You no longer live here. His pride screamed. How dare she? After everything, after all he had done, he didn't care about the bank, or the office, or the gate. He cared that she had dared to speak back. But Amara was not finished. She had moved like a quiet river, but now she was a rising flood. Victor tried calling her phone. Blocked. He tried logging into the company website. Locked out. He tried sending a message to the office group chat. Removed. His face turned red. He drove to the company building. The guard at the gate raised a hand. Sorry, sir, he said, polite but firm. You're not allowed in. Victor laughed. What nonsense is this? Do you know who I am? Yes, sir. And I was told you are no longer CEO. By who? By the owner. Who? Madame Amara. Victor stormed off, shouting into the air, this is madness. She's just a woman. But inside, he was shaking. That night, Amara sat at her lawyer's office, signing another set of papers. The room smelled like fresh paper and ink. The lights were warm. Her lawyer, Miss Olani, looked at her with quiet respect. You're doing the right thing, Miss Olani said. No drama. Just law. Amara nodded. He thought I would break down. But you didn't. No. I rose. Outside, rain fell gently. It felt like cleansing. A quiet beginning of something new. Meanwhile, far away in another part of the city, another woman was waking up to her own storm. Her name was Kemi. She had just returned from the doctor. Her hand still shook from the bruises. Her boyfriend, Raymond, had hit her. Again. This time, it wasn't just a slap. It was a punch. Right in the face. In front of her sister. And now, Kemi sat in her living room, looking at her swollen cheek in the mirror. But something stronger than pain sat beside her. Something powerful. Something alive. She remembered something. She owned part of Raymond's company. Her name was on the bank documents. They had registered it together, back when love was still alive. Raymond didn't know she kept the papers. But Kemi had copies of everything. She opened her laptop, clicked through folders, and found the one she needed. The company account. Co-owned. She had the login details. Raymond never bothered changing them. Kemi took a deep breath. Her heart beat fast. She clicked freeze account. And just like that, Raymond's world began to melt. Raymond was at the bar when his card failed. He laughed it off. Try again, he told the waitress. Still nothing. He called the bank. Sorry, sir, your account is frozen. It shows joint ownership. Action taken by Miss Kemi Okoye. He dropped his phone. Sweat filled his forehead. Kemi. Sweet Kemi. Quiet Kemi. How? He rushed home. The locks were changed. He banged on the door. Open up. Kemi. Don't do this. From inside, a voice said calmly, leave, or I call the police. Kemi stood with her sister, strong, steady, eyes full of new light. Victor was losing control. He tried lies. He called the police, saying Amara had locked him out unfairly. But when the officers came, Amara welcomed them with papers. Legal papers. Here is the house title, she said, handing them the file. My father bought it. See the name. They checked. They saw. They nodded. Victor shouted. She's lying. She's ruining my life. But the officer turned to him. Sir, this is not your property. Victor's mouth hung open. No one's stopping you from going to court, the officer added. But right now, please leave. Victor left with fire in his heart and shame on his face. Amara didn't dance. She didn't celebrate. She sat at her desk, quietly removing his name from every document. She wrote to the business partners. Please note, Victor is suspended from all financial activities pending full audit. She met with staff. New leadership will be respectful. Honest. Fair. She walked through the office with calm footsteps. Her presence filled the room. Some staff who used to ignore her now stood up when she passed. They saw her. Really saw her. She was no longer the boss's wife. She was the boss. Kemi sat across from her lawyer now. The same lawyer who helped her file for a restraining order. You're not alone, Miss Bello said. He tricked many women. You're just the first to fight back. More women had started messaging Kemi. I knew Raymond too, one said. He promised me marriage. He took money from me, said another. He hit me. I stayed quiet. Not anymore. Kemi started a small group online. The Phoenix Circle. A place for women to share, speak, heal. Raymond's face was everywhere now. Not for his flashy parties, but for fraud. He tried to fight back with words, videos, tears. But Kemi stayed silent. She let the court speak. Victor's life was falling apart. One by one, he was erased from everything. His name gone from the house. His title stripped from the company. His car repossessed by the bank. His friends stopped calling. His family stayed quiet. His pride was crushed. He tried calling Amara again. She didn't answer. He stood at the gate again, one last time, holding a bouquet of roses. "Amara!" he called out. "Please, let's talk." From the balcony, she looked down. She didn't speak. She just closed the curtains. That was her answer. Kemi walked through her old home one last time. She took her books, her clothes, and the photo frame she loved. Then she stepped outside, free. She didn't look back. She had a new apartment now, small but safe, quiet but peaceful. And she had a plan. Court dates were set, witnesses lined up. Her lawyer smiled at the strength in her voice. Both women, in different parts of the city, had turned heartbreak into strategy. They didn't yell. They didn't fight with fists. They used papers, proof, power, and they were winning. But the storm was not over yet. Victor and Raymond were planning something. Something dark. Something dangerous. They didn't like losing. They were not finished. And neither were the women. Victor sat alone in a small hotel room. The light flickered above him. His once perfect suit was now wrinkled, stained, and too loose. His fingers trembled as he scrolled through the news on his phone. Victor Obasai removed from Bright Shield Interiors, following legal battle. Amara Obasai declared sole owner. CEO's wife breaks silence, not with words, but with the law. Each headline hit him like a stone. He threw the phone against the wall. It cracked, just like his pride. For weeks now, everything had collapsed. His bank accounts, empty. His friends, gone. His office, locked. His name, dirty. He had tried everything, begging, blackmail, even lies on social media. But Amara never replied. She didn't argue. She didn't explain. She just watched him fall. In another part of the city, Kemi stood outside the courtroom, wearing a plain blue gown and holding a file. Her face looked calm, but her eyes held thunder. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. Reporters stood at the back, scribbling notes, cameras ready. Inside, Raymond sat beside his lawyer, sweating under the collar of his expensive suit. But there was no smile on his face now. No fake charm. No flash. Just fear. Because Kemi wasn't alone. She had brought evidence. She had brought witnesses. She had brought the truth. One by one, the other women spoke. "He lied to me. He took money from me. He hurt me. He promised marriage, used me, and vanished." The judge listened, and Raymond's face changed. His mouth hung open. His lawyer looked down. The crowd sat frozen. The judge turned to Kemi. "Do you have anything to say?" Kemi stood up slowly. Her voice shook, but not from fear. "Your Honor," she said, "I just want peace. I don't want revenge. I just want him out of my life." The judge nodded. "He will be." The verdict was loud and final. Restraining orders granted. Bank fraud proven. Court costs charged. Business shares returned. Kemi stepped out of the courtroom with her lawyer beside her. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She just breathed. Deep. Free. Back in Amara's world, the final hearing had arrived. Victor entered the court with shaky steps. He wore glasses to hide his red eyes. People in the gallery murmured as he passed. His once golden name was now stained in public. He sat opposite Amara. She wore white. Simple. Graceful. Not a single gold earring, no loud fashion. Just dignity. The judge began reading the documents. "Mr. Victor Obasai," the judge said, "you were married to Mrs. Amara Obasai. You have been removed from the board of Bright Shield Interiors. Ownership of all assets is now under her name, legally transferred and verified." Victor tried to speak, but the judge raised a hand. "You were given time to respond. You failed. You were given access to counsel. You misused it. This courtroom is not for games." The final order was clear. Amara owned everything. The house, the company, the patents, the lands. Victor sat still, lips trembling. He had lost, and the whole country would know. Weeks later, Victor was spotted on the street, trying to sell his designer watches. He now lived with an old cousin on the city's edge. The world that once clapped for him now walked past him. He tried messaging Amara once more. "I'm sorry," he wrote. "Can we talk?" No reply. Amara was in her office, signing new contracts. Her company had grown even bigger. Her face was on business magazines now, not as Victor's wife, but as Amara the builder. But her heart, still healing. She didn't smile much. She didn't date. She worked. She prayed. She took long walks under the trees. She looked out her window a lot. She had peace, but not trust. Kemi's life had also changed. She moved to Abuja, started a podcast for women called The Fire Beneath Silence. Her voice became a soft drum in people's ears. She told her story, not to shame, but to help. She taught women to protect themselves, to know their rights, to ask questions. Her face wasn't on billboards, but her message reached far. Raymond, now banned from starting any business without clearance, had vanished from social media. The last time anyone saw him, he was sitting outside a loan office, waiting for help. Neither woman celebrated with noise. They didn't dance in public. They didn't throw parties. But inside their silence was a quiet crown. They had won, not with revenge, but with law, with truth, with strength. And pain had made them sharp. But deep down, something had changed forever. They didn't trust the smiles of men. They didn't believe in fairy tales. They were not the same women who once loved blindly. They were wiser, colder, and free, but also a little sad, because healing does not erase memory. And the worst scars are the ones nobody sees. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again, but if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.